And watch this, Bun. I'm gonna say this too. These out there think shit is cool, but it ain't cool. Me and this man ain't never been in no room together with no hoe, pulling no orgy type shit, doing none of that hoe you niggas out there be doing, thinking you doing some fly shit. Niggas, you in a room naked with some other niggas and some broad and looking at you.
It's just, you know, there's a time, there's a place for it. Like, you know, like, I couldn't, on doing it on record, just never felt natural. It was like, it felt unnecessary.
So that was that Heavy D's first time meeting you, or he knew you already?
Yeah, he met me because I was kind of like, you know, every persistent. So he met me and he knew of me, but when I came to his house, he was like, okay, this is enough.
Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, I'll Be Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim, she was Andre's personal assistant. Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died.
Heavy D and Pimp C both died under shady circumstances, and shortly before their deaths, they both spoke directly or indirectly about one man, Diddy. So is this just another coincidence, or is it time we look into all of these suspicious deaths of people who tried to warn us about Diddy? See, this isn't just internet speculation, it's the footage. Go back and watch their last interviews. You'll see both Heavy D and Pimp C were dropping cryptic lines about freak-off parties, fake people in power, and the devil running the music business. Pimp was more direct, calling out rappers who bend over for a record deal and warning younger artists to stay away from those parties. Meanwhile, Heavy D stood up to Diddy directly and refused to let him control his creative vision during his time at Bad Boy. And both men were on a path to expose something bigger. They started pulling on a thread that leads right to Diddy. There's a reason their last appearances feel strange when you rewatch them now. The body language, the tone, the warnings they were slipping in. Once you catch it, you can't unsee it. So let's walk through what Pimp C and Heavy D actually said and how all of it connects to the name that keeps getting cleaned up by the machine, Sean Diddy Combs.
And to where other people never believed in him, it was something about like he would not give up. I mean, I would be somewhere and it's just like somebody jumping on my back and it's Puff. I mean, literally like, hey, jumping on my back. Everything. So.
All right, let's start with Heavy D. His relationship with Diddy was full of ups and downs. And if you really look at the timeline, it's clear things weren't as friendly as they seemed on the surface. Early on, Heavy D actually helped Diddy get his start in the industry. He's the one who recommended him for an internship at Uptown Records. See, Diddy started as a backup dancer for Heavy D and Big Daddy Kane. And according to sources at Revolt, Diddy spent several months persuading Heavy D to get him the internship at Uptown. And that move literally launched Diddy's entire career. But as Diddy rose, Heavy D started getting sidelined. And not just musically. Industry people say Heavy D was getting more involved behind the scenes in management, production, and label politics. He knew how the business worked, and he wasn't someone you could easily control. D was just different. He didn't curse in his songs, wasn't chasing the party scene, and he didn't care about flashing his wealth. He carried himself like a man who knew exactly who he was.
That was real cool. And you like to dress. Why do you dress up when all the rappers are going with sweatsuits and chains?
Wow.
Not all the rappers, but many.
I just like dressing, you know. Ever since I was little, I just put on clothes all the time. Now that I got some cash, I could buy what I want. So I used to have to squeeze it to like, I used to have to go to a regular Alexander store or something.
Yeah.
And try and fit what you could wear.
Yeah.
But now I got a little cash, I get tailors and all that.
Yeah.
I don't do no drugs and nothing. I spend all my money on clothes and my parents.
That's good.
Heavy D was also about staying clean and wanted to be a blueprint for doing hip-hop differently. No drinking, no illegal substances, no chaos, just focus and positivity. And in an era where self-destruction was normalized, D proved you didn't need all that extra stuff to win.
He said, Mom, do you think I could really face you and my dad if they're listening to me on the radio or anything and I'm using profanity?
From their home in Mount Vernon, the matriarch of this proud Jamaican-American family tells me about the very beginning when a then 17-year-old Dwight told her he wanted to be a rapper.
I said, I'm going to give you 1 year. And if you make it, I will be supportive. But if you don't make it, I want you to make me a promise that you're going back to college.
Done deal.
Within 6 months, Andre Harrell ended up in my house. asking me to sign the paper.
Heavy always made sure his lyrics were family-friendly, is one reason why artists like Michael and Janet Jackson worked with him. But he was well aware the industry was changing, more expletives in songs.
He said, no, I'm never going to be like that. I can't do it, Mom.
And this approach worked for Heavy D. He didn't just win in music. He crossed over into TV, film, and mentorship. And he was on his way to becoming a different kind of mogul.
Trying to pound me up. Where my money? What's up? What's up? What's up?
This is not a drag strip. You understand what I'm telling you? This is my groove. Don't with my groove. You understand what I'm telling you? I'm tired of you punks coming out with this. This ain't no car race.
By the late 2000s, Heavy D was making a quiet comeback, not just as an artist, but as a potential power broker in the industry. He was clean, focused, and making moves. And that alone could have made Diddy nervous, especially since D wasn't into the usual industry games. He was respected, had deep connections, and wasn't afraid to speak out. And you know Diddy doesn't like people around him that he can't manipulate. There were also a lot of rumors that Heavy D knew too much, not just about how Diddy operates, but about what went down in the 90s and early 2000s behind closed doors. Deals, betrayals, even darker rumors that keep resurfacing today about Diddy's alleged involvement in Tupac and Biggie's deaths. Heavy D's collab with both Tupac and Biggie on the 1994 track Let's Get It On from the Who's the Man soundtrack is a historic moment in hip-hop that many people don't know about. This was the only officially released song to feature Heavy D, Tupac, and Biggie together on the same record. The track brought together three future legends in a moment of peace before the East Coast-West Coast beef exploded. At the time, Pac and Big were still friendly, and Heavy D helped bridge the gap between the coasts. The song itself wasn't a massive hit commercially, but in hindsight, it's like a snapshot of what hip-hop could have been if it hadn't been corrupted by people like Diddy and the higher-ups behind the scenes who helped Diddy rise to the top. So when people say there was tension between Diddy and Heavy D, it's not just ego, it's business, it's secrets, and it's control. Heavy D was the one person from Diddy's early circle who had enough clout to threaten the narrative Diddy had built his brand on. And then suddenly, he's gone. After dropping a rare album, after reappearing in public, and after looking healthy and focused, that's not something you can just ignore. Heavy D died 4 days after Diddy's birthday on November 8th, 2011. He was just 44 years old.
Known for creating music with an easygoing party vibe, a blend of R&B and rap, enjoying his greatest success in the late 80s and early 90s. The funeral drew a who's who from the hip-hop world, including Jay-Z, Queen Latifah, and Heavy D's old friend Sean Diddy Combs, who's also from Mount Vernon. He credited Hev with helping him break into the music business.
He was a superstar in every sense of the word. He was larger than life. From the way he rapped, to the way he dressed, to the way he danced, to the way he moved.
At first, the media said it was pneumonia, but then 2 months later, the autopsy revealed the real cause was a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot that probably started in his leg and blocked his lungs. And you know when you hear pneumonia in connection to someone from Diddy's circle, it's a huge red flag. Several people close to Diddy also died from pneumonia or related lung issues, often with no clear underlying health problems. We're talking about multiple cases in a relatively short span of time, which is statistically very unusual. You got Heavy D and Kim Porter, who both died of pneumonia-like diseases. Then Al B. Sure almost dies of the same thing. There's also actress Brittany Murphy, who used to attend Diddy's parties and dated Diddy's buddy Ashton Kutcher. Brittany and her husband both died under very sketchy circumstances after experiencing issues with their lungs.
Brittany Murphy died from pneumonia, but anemia and prescription drugs also played a role. Her death was ruled accidental. A Los Angeles County coroner spokesman would not say what kind of drugs were involved in Murphy's death, but said they were all prescription medications.
And let's not forget about Whitney Houston's daughter, Bobby Christina. Everyone assumed she just drowned after ODing, but her autopsy actually stated she had lobar pneumonia, the exact same condition they claimed Kim Porter died from.
As Bobby Christina Brown's autopsy reveals that the daughter of Whitney Houston died from pneumonia. She died in similar circumstances as her mother, with her face immersed in water.
We have an update on the shocking death of Kim Porter. The model, actress, and longtime girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs died unexpectedly at the age of 46 yesterday. And there are reports that she was suffering from pneumonia and died of cardiac arrest.
And then more recently, Diddy's former bodyguard, Big Homie CC, revealed he developed pneumonia symptoms after he started speaking out about the industry parties.
Along this path, I've been poisoned 3 times. My toxicology report showed cyanide, and cyanide metabolizes into pneumonia in your body. So I've had pneumonia on 3 occasions. And these problems didn't start for me until I started to speak out about people like this.
See, pneumonia is usually a risk for the very old, very young, or those with a weak immune system, not healthy adults in their 30s or 40s, and the odds of so many people in one circle dying or nearly dying of the same illness without any clear cause, that's not just unlikely, it's suspicious. Speaking of suspicious, we have to talk about Pimp C and his mysterious death. See, Pimp C wasn't afraid to call out the rappers hiding behind tough guy masks, especially the ones he thought were living double lives. He said a lot of these dudes fake the violence to protect their image, and if anyone gets too close to the truth about their real preferences, they'll shut them down hard, even destroy career. There's this viral interview where Pimp C and Bun B openly call out rappers who are on the DL and using their womanizer persona to mess with men at these freak-off parties.
People, I won't even say a group. It's the only reason 2 men can really call themselves friends or partners or homies. Can't start with lies, and can't build on lies, and you know what I'm saying, when it's all over, you know what I'm saying, can't be no lies a part of it. Everything between me and him, regardless of how we may deal with everybody else, I'm 100 with him. He 100 with me. That's the only way we gonna make it. And from the beginning, it's always been we. It ain't never been.
And watch this, Bun. I'm gonna say this too. These out there think this cool, but it ain't cool. Me and this man ain't never been in no room together with no pulling no orgy type doing none of that shit you niggas there be doing, thinking you doing some fly. You in a room naked with some other and some broad just looking at your ass. And it's that gay, and you need to get on some other. Me and this man got nothing but respect for each other. We ain't never pulled no train. We ain't no freaks. We some family men. We getting this paper. You know what I'm talking about? And I had to put that out there, Bun, because a lot of fugazi and shit, man. You know what I'm saying? These flip-floppy, they pitching and they catching with these boys.
Pimp also talked about how these DL rappers often use violence to overcompensate for their insecurities, taking their anger out on others because they're too scared to live their truth. And honestly, that sounds a lot like Diddy's style.
And they doing all this, and if you gay, that's cool, but be gay and come on out and be that. Don't be in front of us and acting like a straight up G, and then you get over here and you letting these boys bust up your back. But it gonna come to the light. And yeah, I wanna put that out there, man. This man ain't never seen me naked. I ain't never seen him naked. We don't desire to do no like that. We ain't going out like that. And we were wild young teenagers. And
we before that X, that X, a lot of that shit, a lot of these boys' heads. I don't know. Maybe they're using X as an excuse to open them doors that they really. You know what I'm saying?
Where's Wheelock?
But,
If you watch these interviews now, you'll see a lot of new comments from fans saying Pimp's words actually make more sense with time. And many people now think Pimp was taken out because he knew too much about how the music business really works, and he wasn't afraid to talk about it. Now let's get into Pimp C's suspicious death. In early December 2007, Pimp C was staying at the Mondrian Hotel in West Hollywood, getting ready to perform with Too Short. Everything seemed normal until December 4th, the day he was supposed to fly home. His wife, Chinara, and cousin Ed waited at the airport, but Pimp C wasn't picking up the phone. Chinara got worried and called the hotel, and that's when the hotel staff went to check on him and found him unresponsive. They called paramedics, but it was too late. Pimp C was dead at just 33.
Hey, he's a hometown hero for Port Arthur, Texas, and he put this town on the map. It's still UGK for life, so we're gonna definitely, all these people out here, we're gonna definitely make sure we represent it.
As hundreds lined the streets while the body of Butler was taken to his final resting place, many say he lived his life cut too short to the fullest.
Now, according to the official coroner's report, Pimp C died from a mix of lean and sleep apnea, and the death was ruled an accident. But here's where things get shady. DJ Paul from 3 6 Mafia said Pimp C's manager, Rick Martin, told him he saw Pimp C's body in the hotel room, and he looked like he was shot. But that's not all. Eyewitnesses said a woman was seen going into the hotel with Pimp C right after he died. But those stories were quickly wiped from the internet. And then on top of that, insiders say Pimp C's mom always thought her son was poisoned. Journalist Julia Beverly, who wrote Pimp C's biography, Sweet Jones, Pimp C's Trill Life Story, confirmed this, and she said in an interview that Pimp C's mom never believed the official version, and she was sure Pimp C was killed.
Well, his mom believes he was murdered, and she basically breaks down the reasons why she believes that. I couldn't really. There's some circumstantial evidence that might make you think that, but as far as like physical evidence, I had some other people review the autopsy report and things like that, and they didn't really come to a solid conclusion as far as, you know, any foul play or things like that. But a lot of people have heard that he died of a codeine overdose, which is not true at all. That was actually, you know, the day he passed, or the day that the results of the tests and whatnot were not announced, the coroner said, you know, he did not overdose. And then you had all these newspapers that said that he did overdose. So that was just irresponsible media that came up with that story. But the official story was that he had sleep apnea, which is a condition which can make it hard for you to basically stop breathing in your sleep. And the story was that he took some codeine, which prevented his body from waking up the way that it normally would. So it feasibly could have happened that way. But there are some alternate theories which I kind of explore in the book. His mom thinks he was poisoned, and there was someone with him when he passed who was a very shady, strange character. So there is actually a person of interest, according to his mother, that she believed had something to do with his death. So I wasn't able to really definitively come to a conclusion, but I've laid out all the facts, and people can kind of decide for themselves. And
so when you look at the bigger picture, it's hard to ignore the pattern. Heavy D and Pimp C were two respected voices who weren't just making music, but were starting to pull back the curtain on the industry's darkest secrets. They both tried to distance themselves from the machine. Both spoke out directly or indirectly about Diddy and all the depraved stuff going on behind the scenes. And then both die suddenly under suspicious circumstances. So the question is, were they silenced for what they knew? Was their loyalty to truth more dangerous than we realized? And how many more artists have to disappear before people stop calling it a coincidence? Let me know what you think about this and drop your comments below.